Hi everybody, so this is going to be a really short screencast just to show you how you can make a Google Doc become a pretty simple class website if you're not using a learning management system like Haiku or something like Google Sites, and we can just take a really simple Google Doc and take that URL and share that with the students one time, and then you can give them homework or activities to push them toward that site, and they'll remember that site pretty easily without having to email them. Particularly in the younger grades, if you're not emailing to your students, this would be a great way to be able to share videos, Google Forms, and so on. So I'm going to go over here in my Google Drive, and I'm going to create a new document, and I am going to call it, just for the sake of this screencast, I am going to call it, let's wait for it to go. I am going to call it class website, and you can give it whatever name that would be appropriate for your class. And now this is just a regular Google Doc. We've learned how you can use Google Docs and so on. And we're going to come back to that in a moment. But what we're going to do is, if you remember this URL here, this is pretty long. You're not going to be able to give this to your students and expect them to go home and plug that into a computer. So what we're going to do is go to tinyurl.com, as you see here, tinyurl.com. And that gives you the ability to make a custom URL. So I'm going to go back to Word. Not to Word, to Google Drive, Google Docs. I'm going to highlight that URL, right click, copy it. I'm going to go into tinyurl, and down here, enter a long URL. I'm going to paste it. And here, I have an option to make it a custom URL. So that means that I'm going to put in, let's say, Rabbi Rothman. And if it takes that, assuming no one else in the world, Rabbi Rothman, has tried this, click Make Tiny URL. Let's see what happens. I hope, there you go. So now there is a website which you can give to your students, or I'm going to give to my students, that will exist from now and forever, called tinyurl.com/Rabbi Rothman. And again, you can choose to write, you might have more than one class, so you might want to make more than one site and call it as such. But the point is, now, I'm just going to paste it over here, is that website right here. And if I click on this link, and I'll show you that in a minute, it will take me to this document. So now, how does this help me? I can have my students write this down in their, again, first graders, into their homework pad, this website. And now, for example, let's say we learned today about how to create Google Forms. So I'm just going to go into a Google form that I've created previously, and I'm going to view the live form. Remember, that's the one I want my students to be able to click on. Now I can capture this URL, and I could do this next week and the week after, and I can keep building it. Go here, and I can, again, you might want to design this a little bit, but we can call this homework, week of February 11th, whatever you want. Click here, and I'm going to highlight the words click here, go to insert my link, and that link I had from the Google Doc, click apply, and now when your students come into this website, which again you're going to give them tinyurl.com/Rabbi Rothman one time, or again you can remind it to them each time you want them to come here, then they can come in here and click on the homework, and that will open up that spreadsheet, that Google form. So let's just review that real quick. One time you're going to create a Google Doc like this, call it your, whatever you want to call it, Rabbi Rothman's class, or whatever a name would be appropriate. You're going to take this long URL just this one time, go to tinyurl, put it into this longer box, and then come up with a tiny one. Again, the fewer letters, the more likely it is that someone else has used it, so you're going to have to play around perhaps a little bit till you get one that's simple to remember. And then, like I did here, the one that mine is called is tinyurl.com/Rabbi Rothman. That is the website that your kids will go to every time you post a new one. So for example, if there was a great video that you wanted your students to watch, you can tell them to come to this site, and you could do a click here, and again go grab that URL from the SchoolTube or from whatever website you're going to, and highlight the words and insert the link. So this essentially becomes a very simple, nothing fancy, but a very simple website which you can now share with your students that one URL one time, and just keep sending them here as you want to create new videos, screencasts, or forms, or anything else that you want them to go to on the web. This can be a great platform, a real simple one, without the need for a learning management system and so on. Especially with younger kids, this would be a great alternative. Everyone have a great day.